You know what I'm saying? That's, yeah, you try to punish this. You try to punish that, yeah. If you make any, he put his chin in the air when you do that shit. That's why I tell you to show. You know what I'm saying? That's why
it is what it is. I'm here where I'm supposed to be, and we running their back for a reason. Come on now. They not gonna let their baby boy lose like that. They cash cow lose like that. They ain't gonna let them go out like that, so.
Gervonta Davis has left fans confused, critics concerned, and the boxing world on edge just weeks before one of the most talked about rematch of the year. The upcoming clash with Lamont Roach Jr., scheduled for August 16th, 2025 in Las Vegas, is not only clouded by the pressure of unfinished business from their controversial first meeting, but also by Davis's strange public behavior, silence on key matters, and an atmosphere of growing uncertainty. Episode 1 of Netflix UNCUTS, Gervonta Davis versus Lamont Roach, 2 captures some of that tension, but behind the scenes, the concerns around Davis appear to be mounting at a much deeper level.
What does the rematch look like between Lamont and Gervonta, you think?
I like Lamont in the rematch.
I think you were one of the few that kind of picked Lamont to begin with. Why was that?
I sparred with Lamont. I knew that he was a good fighter. He helped me get ready for the Oscar Valdez fight. And I knew his style, with Tank style, what he was going to be able to bring to the table. I knew it. So.
Did you really win 20 rounds?
I swear to God, on my daughter's life, I won that much money.
How different does a rematch look in your...
In the series' first episode, titled Face to Face, Davis and Roach sit across from each other in a classic, tension-filled stare down. Davis, known for his composure and calm before fights, doesn't give much away, but that's exactly the problem. Lamont Roach, on the other hand, appears sharp, focused, and unbothered. He speaks with clarity and confidence, unlike Davis, who leans into silence. The Netflix episode gives viewers a glimpse into the psychological buildup of the fight, but the story outside the camera's view is far more concerning. Davis's recent behavior has fans and analysts questioning whether the undefeated WBA lightweight champion is truly ready to step back into the ring.
Aficionado on boxing.
Aficionado. So as an aficionado, then you know, like, if I'm the champ, you can't come in here and outpoint no champ. You're not about to outpoint him unless you just beat the living shit out of him. Right. You gotta take that. You gotta knock him down. Yeah. You gotta knock him out. Like, it's the champ. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they went in there and they both punching each other hard. Bow, 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 bow. But I feel like Tank did his thing a little more than him. But at the end of the day, like, you ain't took shit, Roach. You just lasted. You lasted and you had a...
Their first meeting in March 2025 ended in an unexpected majority draw. Roach matched Davis blow for blow. No one expected that. The 9th round, however, became the focus of endless replay debates and YouTube breakdowns. Not because of a knockdown, but because of a bizarre moment where Davis, seemingly disoriented, kneeled in the middle of the round and jogged to his corner to have his face wiped. The referee paused the fight, unsure of what was happening. Many interpreted the act as a physical breakdown or mental lapse.
What's going on in Tank's camp and, you know, training with this person, training with that person?
Yeah.
Who has the edge heading into the rematch?
Neither one of them. Lamont, you know what, I'm lying. 55-45, Lamont.
Why?
Lamont got the edge because he already did the unexpected. He was supposed to get knocked out coming up from 130. And not only did he not get knocked out, he performed and possibly won the fight. That's what some people believe. I thought it was a very close fight. I think, but after you asked me that question, I'm thinking about it, yeah, I think Lamont.
Either way, it raised questions that have only grown louder in the months since. Episode 1 does not ignore this moment. In fact, it's revisited briefly with slow-motion highlights and commentary that avoids direct conclusions. But fans online are not shy about labeling the moment what it looked like. Strange, off, possibly medical. Reddit threads are still debating what happened in round 9.
Lamont Roach throwing his hands fast as hell. He's in the gym preparing. I think the rematch with Roach versus Gervonta can actually be more exciting than the first one. In my opinion, I've said this many times, the actual fight itself wasn't that crazy. The crazy thing is what you've never seen before, the knee. But as far as a boxing match, it was, if you look at the copy box, they didn't throw a lot of punches. It wasn't like, it wasn't really a great fight. But as far as the fight itself, the second one can't, because
Some believe it was exhaustion, others think Davis might have had vision issues. A few speculate it was a panic response. Regardless of the cause, it changed the tone of the fight and has cast a long shadow on the rematch. Now, as the rematch draws near, the signs are troubling. Roach has publicly suggested that Davis still hasn't signed the fight contract. In an interview earlier this month, he didn't confirm or deny Davis's involvement, but said everything with a smile that seemed loaded with meaning. On social media, Roach shared cryptic posts, hinting that the fight might not happen. The messages stopped short of accusations, but they painted a picture of a fighter frustrated with the lack of communication from the other camp.
He's not there to play around, he's trying to smoke you. That's what life's supposed to be about. Roach is not just your average everyday opponent. Roach is a person who knows Tank, who's been around Tank his whole life. This is a different fight. You can't put Roach to the side like that. I'm sorry. Now, I'm not saying that he's gonna win the fight, I don't know that, but Roach cannot be this underrated like that. You understand me? You gotta understand that Roach came from basically the same ecosystem as Tank came from. Roach is a very formidable opponent. So I'm not gonna talk about none of that till we get by Roach, because what I'm telling you about the other.
When asked directly if he thought Gervonta Davis was ducking him, Roach said, "I wouldn't say he's afraid of me as a man, but he's afraid of being humiliated. That's his problem." It's not the kind of statement that's meant to stir up a minor feud. It's a dig at the heart of Davis's current mystique, or lack thereof. Gervonta's response, minimal. He posted once on social media, "There's nothing more to say. I'm going for the rematch." But that short message, instead of calming things down, only added fuel to the speculation. No follow-up, no video, no training footage, just silence. And in the world of elite boxing, where hype, confidence, and routine media presence are standard, silence from a champion is rarely a good sign.
I don't want people to get it misconstrued or whatever the case may be. He's a hell of a fighter, hell of an IQ, great punching power, good speed, and a really good boxing ability. A lot of people underrate that. Don't think because of what I did, y'all think y'all can just go in there and think y'all can have the same night, you know what I'm saying, or do the same thing. He still will go upside your head and crack you, and you know what I'm saying, you might end up on the floor. Everybody not built the same.
The Netflix UNCUTS format gives space to explore these tensions, but even it can't answer what's going on in Davis's camp. The series leans into cinematic suspense, slow zooms on Davis's unreadable expressions, overhead shots of empty gyms, quick cuts of Roach training hard while Davis's side remains oddly quiet. All of it builds an atmosphere that reflects the real-life mystery. Meanwhile, Roach isn't waiting around. He's already talking about what comes next, specifically targeting the winner of Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. It's an unusual move for someone who's days away from a rematch, but it shows confidence. Whether that confidence is warranted or overconfidence remains to be seen, but in contrast to Davis's ambiguity, it looks like leadership.
That was saying that this is a really tough fight. Like, Lamont Roach is a serious fighter. I said it might not be the biggest profile fight, but it's actually quite a tough fight. And Shakur said to me, like, even the day before, I'm telling you, he's going to have big trouble tomorrow night. And I just feel like hopefully this could be the little something that gives Gervonta a little wake-up call to take him back to the mindset of maybe where he was.
From a technical standpoint, fans still remember the stats from their first fight. Davis landed just one more punch than Roach, statistically insignificant. Roach even scored a knockdown that many fans and analysts believe was wrongly discounted by the judges.
That knockdown, had it been ruled correctly, may have been enough to give Roach the win. This fact remains a sore point online, especially among fans who view Roach as having been robbed of his moment. Fan reactions from platforms like Reddit mirror the growing concerns. In one thread, a user wrote, "That knockdown was weird. If it had been counted, Roach wins. And with damn near even punch numbers, yeah, he should have won." Others echo the sentiment that Davis looked vulnerable and possibly unprepared during their first encounter.
Like, he got a lot of boos from that. A lot of people wasn't really feeling that. Do you feel like he'll fight better this next fight?
I think so, for sure. And you know, you had mentioned that they've known each other since childhood.
Yeah.
So maybe that had something to do with that first fight. But now they've fought, they've gotten that experience out of the way. So I think we're going to see both of them a lot more locked in.
Way better, yeah. Definitely more locked in.
All this places enormous pressure on Davis. Even those who believe he wins the rematch admit it won't be easy. His condition, mental and physical, has been a subject of concern before. In past camps, he's dealt with legal troubles, rumors of inconsistent training, and documented weight struggles. The silence around his current camp is making people nervous, not excited. As for Roach, the pressure is different. He's coming in with the underdog badge, but with momentum. In every interview, every social media post, and even in his body language on Netflix UNCUTS, he looks like a fighter who sees opportunity. There's no hesitancy. If Davis doesn't show up on August 16th, Roach will be ready to move on without regret.
Davis and Roach too. How do you think this plays out the second time?
You know, Davis is supposed to step up and show the level that he's on.
Right.
And I always say it's about boxing. Boxing does itself a disservice by not promoting both sides. If you did a better job promoting Lamont Roach, people would have expected that fight to be what it ended up being. It was a good boxing match.
Right.
And in a lot of ways entertaining for multiple reasons, but you know, I think if anything, we know that Lamont is on the Roach and Tank Davis.
In episode 1, Davis is not completely absent, but the contrast in energy between him and Roach is unmistakable. Where Roach is open, aggressive, and ready to go, Davis remains guarded, giving only short answers and uninterested glances. It's unclear whether this is intentional stoicism or a deeper issue. Another layer to this drama is the venue, Las Vegas. This isn't just another fight night. It's one of the biggest boxing cities in the world, and any stumble, both physical or promotional, becomes magnified. Sponsors, press, and fans are all watching closely. The Nevada State Athletic Commission will be monitoring everything as well, especially considering the 9th round confusion in the last fight. Any repeat of that moment could open a floodgate of medical, regulatory, and reputational issues.
I think it's going to be a chess match. So I think Tank gonna come in. I think his footwork is a little bit better than Roach. I think his movement, stuff like that, is a little bit better. So I think, if he, get Roach out of his rhythm, kind of get him off balance, Tank gonna get him out of there. Not saying Tank can't knock him out now. Don't get it twisted now just because he didn't knock the dude out or whatever. No, don't think he can't. Like I said, I get Roach's prop.
Roach has had to deal with skepticism ever since his controversial draw with Davis in March 2025. Despite moving up in weight and going toe-to-toe with the WBA lightweight champion, many still insist the result had more to do with Davis not being himself than with Roach performing at a high level. Analysts, fans, and even some fighters have framed the bout as an off night for Tank, pointing to his bizarre 9th round moment when he suddenly jogged to his corner to get his face wiped mid-round as evidence that something wasn't right. That moment, and the lack of dominance Davis typically brings, caused some to suggest he wasn't mentally prepared for the bout.
His recent post is trying to let the world know he's going to be a completely different fighter. And as you see here, he's posting his black Nike boots. Now, technically, we usually say when you have Nike Air Force Ones, the black ones, that means some sort of bad energy. You're going to bring it. It's a thugging thing. And he's showing the Nike boots and saying it's time. He's going underground, and Lamont Roach.
This narrative has frustrated Roach. He sees it as disrespect, not just to his performance, but to the preparation, discipline, and ability he brings as a fighter. And instead of brushing it off, Roach has chosen to send a strong message in return. During a training session recently broadcast on YouTube, Roach was seen pounding a heavy bag when he suddenly turned to the camera and said, "Gervonta will be the reason I catch a body in this fight, you see?" The moment was jarring. One of his trainers standing nearby chimed in, echoing Roach's words, "The champion doesn't lie. That joker will be the reason I catch a body, I assure you."
Do you think he wins that rematch with Lamont Roach?
I don't know, honestly. I really don't know. It's a 50-50 fight. It's a 50-50 fight. I don't know, honestly. I really don't know.
Does a lot of it hinge on Gervonta and like which version he shows up with? And no disrespect to Roach, but you know what I mean.
No, that is disrespect for the Roach, and like y'all fight fans gotta realize that.
In the boxing community, the phrase "catch a body" is controversial. It's slang for scoring a knockout so devastating that it could result in serious harm or worse. It became widely discussed in 2019 after heavyweight Deontay Wilder said he was still trying to get a body on his record. The backlash then was swift, with many calling it reckless, even dangerous.
To the rematch, champ.
Like a champ, like I'm supposed to. I've been in the gym, I've been ready. Time to ramp it up, kick it in gear, and get right to work.
I'm gonna ask you a quick question about the fight. The first fight was...
Now, Roach's use of the phrase has triggered similar conversations, especially because of the context. A rematch with a fighter who already appeared physically and mentally off in their first meeting. It's unclear what exactly Roach and his trainer meant. Whether it was pure psychological warfare or something deeper, the message is undeniable. Roach plans to come in with full force, and he doesn't intend to leave any doubt this time around. Meanwhile, former Davis opponent Mario Barrios, who was stopped by Tank in 2021, gave his perspective on the rematch in an interview with Low Kick MMA.
Say that shit again. Roach, bro, like, I don't know if y'all watch boxing or if y'all casual fans. Or
well, Kurt is a aficionado on boxing.
Aficionado. So as an aficionado, then you know, like, if I'm the champ, you can't come in here and outpoint no champ. You're not about to outpoint him unless you just beat the living shit out of him. Right. You gotta take that. You gotta knock him down. Yeah. You gotta knock him out. Like, it's the champ. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And they went in there and they both.
Barrios acknowledged Roach's performance in the first bout, calling it very competitive and pointing to the controversy surrounding the unscored knockdown. He said, especially with that knockdown, that they didn't score a knockdown. I don't know what you want to call that. That moment, many believe, could have swayed the judge's decision if scored correctly. Despite giving credit to Roach, Barrios still leans toward Davis in the rematch. I think in a rematch, I'm still giving the edge to Tank, not taking anything away from Roach. He's a damn good fighter himself.
I mean, Roach should have won the first one. He got robbed because that should have been a knockdown, and the commission messed that up. But in the rematch, I like Tank in a good fight.
He showed that, and I think he surprised a lot of people with their first fight. So I think the second fight would be very competitive, but yeah, I would lean with Tank for that one. That measured take from Barrios represents what many fans feel. Roach is better than expected, but Davis is still the favorite. Roach, however, is working to flip that narrative. In a recent interview with Give Me Sport, he made it clear that he isn't distracted by Davis's reputation or his past dominance. Instead, he's zeroing in on what he sees as exploitable weaknesses, and he's watching closely as Davis sends mixed messages to the public.
I seen a tweet today that Tank Davis said, Yaka had a crown, he don't want it. And that scared me a little bit. I'm a big Tank fan, you know what I'm saying? That scared me a little bit. We got the fire in his stomach after what happened, but I'm going Tank. I believe he the best at it. I wonder if he's still hungry though, you know what I'm saying? I'm going Tank. All right.
One of the major storylines heading into the fight is Davis's apparent interest in retirement. He's hinted at it multiple times on social media and in brief interviews. For Roach, that signals a lack of commitment. Honestly, I think that's the wrong thing to say to a guy like me because I'm going to try and exploit that, Roach said. He has one foot out and one foot in boxing. To me, it looks like he honestly does want to get out of the sport. Roach isn't taking Davis lightly though. He emphasized that his training is focused on facing the best version of Tank possible, not the version that seemed lost mid-fight in March or the one possibly distracted by thoughts of retirement. We're still training and preparing for the best Gervonta Davis that's available and can present itself. We're not taking shortcuts. We're not doing anything with regard to his comments. We're doing everything with regard to the good fighter he is, he said. He's definitely a pound-for-pound talent, a damn good fighter, but there's weaknesses I can see.
Because, he worked with other coaches, so,
Yeah.
But I do know how the fight will be different, the rematch.
With a different strategy.
Yeah, I can't speak on it, but yeah, it's definitely going to be different. Way different.
See, you're smiling and you're excited about it, and you can tell that that's like a coaching thing. That a lot of the fans, they tend to.
One of the more intriguing elements of this rivalry is that it's not entirely new. Roach and Davis have history. They've known each other since childhood, having competed against one another on the amateur circuit starting around age 10. Roach said they sparred as teens, possibly even fought twice in their early years. That familiarity has bred a type of calm confidence in Roach. He doesn't see Tank as untouchable. He doesn't view himself as the underdog. In fact, he believes the long-term understanding of Davis's habits, style, and mentality gives him a unique advantage. Roach calls himself a cerebral boxer puncher. That means he doesn't rely on brute force or pressure alone. He thinks through his movements, adapts mid-fight, and uses his ring IQ to set traps. Against a fighter like Davis, known for explosive counters and compact power shots, that cerebral approach could serve Roach well, especially if Davis is slow to engage or hesitant, as he appeared at times in their first meeting.
Want to compete with Roach, but what did you think about that fight? Like, did you think it was competitive?
Yeah, I think it was competitive. I feel like with them having I feel like the relationship that they got or they had, as far as coming up, together and kind of knowing the same people, working with the same people, it kind of was more of the fight was more of like I feel like so Roach came out and fought.
If Roach is right about Davis having one foot out, then he knows the window to capitalize may be small. That's why his comments about retirement carry more strategic weight than simple trash talk. He's not trying to get into Davis's head, he's already there. The words are meant for everyone else, to frame the narrative that Davis isn't all in and that Roach is walking into the ring fully focused. There's also the matter of the rematch clause. According to reports, the contract for the August 16th bout includes a clause that allows Davis to activate an immediate rematch if he loses. That could lead to a third fight later in the year. But Roach doesn't believe that fight will ever happen. You never know, he said when asked. He's talking about retirement and all that other stuff. So we'll see. The implication is that Davis might walk away from the sport rather than climb back into the ring if Roach beats him cleanly.
Now, in training, I would not be surprised to think that Tank has been boxing and training at a high level for the last 3 months. While Roach has been out here just, I want to fight. So that's probably 3 months gone. And hopefully Roach has been...
As the fight approaches, one thing is becoming clear. Lamont Roach Jr. is no longer interested in proving he belongs in the conversation. He believes he's already there. What he's after now is validation. The kind that comes from knocking off a name like Davis and doing it decisively. Whether his bold words about catching a body were hyperbole or psychological warfare, they signal just how far he's willing to go to make that point. How do you see this rematch going? Share your take below and subscribe for more updates.